Clutch Truckers filmed before a live studio audience.
Us.
That's us.
We're the studio audience.
Yeah, all of us.
Not just the dog.
Merry Christmas.
Ho, ho, ho.
Happy New Year.
Hey YouTube, Clutch Trucker here. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of the Clutch Trucker channel. Okay, as I had mentioned in my cooking videos where I used my Grorge Forman grill, the little 2-serving one I got from Walmart for 15 bucks. You saw I did grilled cheese, hot dogs, hamburgers on there. But for the burgers, I had to kind of hang them off the edges a little bit. And I can only do one grilled cheese at a time. And I was on the phone with my wife the other day and I said, hey, while you're at Kohl's, why don't you see if they have just a slightly bigger Grorge Forman. So here we have the Grorge Forman 5-serving grill and panini. There it is, lovely shot of that. And it looks like it's going to be just a little bit bigger than the one I was using. So this will be the official unboxing of the Grorge Forman 5-serving grill and panini. This one was like, I think it was listed at $32, on sale for like $27, and my wife had her good old Kohl's 30% off and coupons and everything else, so it was just over 20 bucks for this 5-serving grill and panini. And apparently it does have a feature where it has the adjustable angle. My other one didn't do that. It says it'll tilt for grilling and flat for paninis. I only use the flat method when I'm cooking the dogs, so they don't seem like they want to keep sliding off like they do on my cheaper one. Okay, gotta cut the tape on top. I'm hard to do one handed. Alright, there it is, and we'll pull it out. Alright, so packed in styrofoam. You slide her out, take the styrofoam off the sides. This looks like our little, oh yes, instruction manual for the 5-serving grill and panini. And take it out of its protective bag. Here's the little drip tray, standard on all the Grorge Forman grills. And there's the Grorge Forman itself. Has a little red and green light on top, just like my old one did. And size-wise, yeah, it looks like it's going to be just a little bit bigger, so I can get 2 burgers on there at one time, or 2 grilled cheese at one time. And looks like right now it's on the flat setting. Let's see how to tip it up. Aha! Put that down and back underneath. And there it's tipping like more of a traditional Grorge Forman grill. Not too much else to show. It just has a plug to plug it in. And that's it. So, watch for the video to continue later when I use it in the truck for the first time. Okay, so here it is, Saturday morning, the 9th of January, and finally getting around to using my new Grorge Forman for the first time. I've been up since really early this morning. I had a whole issue, stomach issue thing Thursday night, through the night. It was a nasty situation. But anyway, won't get into that now because we're going to talk about cooking. So I'm going to be able to use the new Grorge Forman for the first time, and my complaint about my old one that was 15 bucks at Walmart that I used for well over a year was that when I was cooking the burgers, I had to kind of hang them off the edge at first until they started to shrink a little bit, and then I had to kind of jam them in there together, and I could only do 1 grilled cheese at a time, and I liked having 2. So I had my wife get me just a little bit bigger one, as I talked about earlier. So we're going to try that today. So I thought, I've been up for quite a few hours, even though it's 8 o'clock in the morning Central Time. It's lunchtime for me. And I'm going to cook up some burgers here now, do some cheeseburgers in the truck, and we'll use the brand new Grorge Forman. So let's dive in. Just as before, here's my driver's seat. Here's the little cabinet I have behind it. Here's my upper cabinet where my clothes and some stuff and cereal actually is up there as well. There's my inverter, which I will use to power my Grorge Forman. And here's the about the only flat space I have in the truck. And this is where I'm going to put it. And I keep it down here in this cabinet, so I'll pull that out. Okay, as I showed on the unboxing, it does have 2 options here. Flat for like cooking paninis, they say, or in my case, hot dogs. Oh, and it even can wrap the cord around that. I didn't even notice that before. That's snazzy. Or you kick this down so it's in the tilted position, which is what we need now to cook the hamburgers on, because you want all the grease, of course, to slide off of the grill down into the the drip tray. One thing I noticed that I don't like as much about this one compared to my little $15 one, the 2-serving one, is the drip tray would click in underneath on the other one. This one, it just slides in there, and you just need to kind of find where you want to put it. Now, if you've watched my cooking videos, where I was using my other Grorge, my little trick that I got from my buddy Jim is you wrap this in tin foil so that after all the grease drips down there, you let it solidify, then you just pull that out and throw it away. So I'll do that next. Okay, as you can see, my drip tray now is all covered in the tin foil. That'll make for easy cleanup later. Alright, Grorge is now plugged in. See, the red light is on. Once that green light comes on, that'll mean it's ready to go. So we'll let that warm up and I'll pull everything else out. Alright, there's my buns and my frozen burgers all ready to go. We'll check the Grorge Forman and let's see, where is it? Green light's on. As I said before, the light is green, the trap is clean. Alrighty, so it's all ready to go. Yeah, that just barely clears the top of underneath my cabinet there. So it's a little bit bigger, a little bit longer than my old one, and I will just throw the burgies on. And yeah, see, 2 fits on there just perfectly. Even though they call this a 5-serving, when these burgers are frozen, they're so much bigger. And so this still is just big enough for these 2 burgers. So we'll let them swim in there for a while, close her down. You can hear them starting to sizzle. As I've stated before, I like barbecue sauce on my burger, so I use the Sweet Baby Ray's honey and barbecue sauce. Yeah. Okay, and then cook it in there for a couple minutes. We'll open it up and see how it's doing. Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah, they're doing real good. The underside here. Oh yeah, doing real good. We're gonna go ahead and flip them. You don't have to, because I mean both sides cook it, but I'm gonna spin them a little bit too. Make sure they get cooked real thoroughly and evenly. So yeah, they're doing real good. I'm real happy so far with the new grill. Sweet sizzle away. Meanwhile, got my sauce spread out on my buns. Does that sound dirty? And I like Swiss cheese. I got some Sargento natural Swiss ready to go. I like Swiss cheese and barbecue sauce on my cheeseburgers. Alright, they've been swimming in there for a total of about, I'd say 4 minutes or so. We're going to see how they're doing. They look real good. Just poke them a bit. You can see maybe they aren't quite done yet inside. I want to go just a little bit longer. If you poke them a little bit, that gives you a good idea of how cooked they are and makes some more of the grease and juice run out of them too. In just another minute and they'll be done. Alright, I think they're all done. I just opened them up and I did poke inside, kind of pulled a little bit of the meat up, and it does look like they're thoroughly cooked inside. So what I'm going to do real quick while they're still sitting in here is throw the cheese on there so it melts down a little bit onto the burger. Of course, I won't close the lid or else the cheese will all get stuck to the lid, but we'll let it sit there just for a little bit and let that cheese kind of melt on there, baby. Oh yeah, looking good. Alright, I think it's time to pull her off. Grab her with a fork. I'll just slide it right on over here to Mr. Bun. Cheese is melting a little bit on there, which is just about how we want it.
Reminds me of shades of Vietnam.
Alrighty, look at that. See how it's kind of melting around there? Oh yeah, that's looking good, isn't it? Top them off. And 2 wonderful looking cheeseburgers. Yeah, we just simply unplug Mr. Grorge. Plug my main cord back in. That feeds my refrigerator and everything else. And I'll just close it up, let it sit there and cool down while I'm eating here before I leave. And it'll stay there because I need to let that grease solidify and everything. I want to make sure it's thoroughly cool before I put it away down there in its lower cabinet. All right, here it is, 8:15 a.m. Central Time, and yet, look at that, baby. Oh, yeah. Those are good-looking burgers, right? Off my new Grorge Forman, and I was able to cook them both real easily together, and that grill was just a few bucks more than the two-serving one, and it still fits right here in the truck just fine. So happy so far with that, and glad I got my wife to give me that for Christmas, as well as my Ninja Foodie. Go watch that video. I cooked pizza in the truck, baby. Oh yeah, look at that burger. Doesn't that look good? Cheese melted down over the edges. Let's take a test. Oh yeah. And see, you can see it's cooked all the way through. Did a real good job. Oh yeah, oh baby. Yeah, of course, Rusty likes the new Grorge Forman too, because when I cooked up the burgers earlier this morning, yeah, I give him just a little bit of each one. You know, when he's just looking at you with a face, how can you turn it down, right? So I would say be a kind of a roundabout way, then Rusty approves of the new Grorge Forman. And again, it's still, even with the Kohl's points and cash and all that my wife used, even at full price, I think it was listed at like $29, but we paid just over $20. And it's gonna pay for itself within like a month. As often as I use it cooking dogs and burgers and grilled cheese on there, and I'm sure I'll come up with other things to cook on it. It's a beautiful thing. If you got an inverter in your truck, it works great. So I highly recommend the old Grorge Forman. Yeah, or if you're single, living in an apartment or whatever, it's a great way to cook. So there you go. Hey, thanks for tuning in. As always, please subscribe. Please comment and like if you would like to. Ring the bell for notification. Check out our Patreon and Coffee. I'd like to help support the channel. And as always, sniff that magic YouTube fairy dust. Clutch and Rusty, out. I'm Arnie, your Hoover Dam Tour Guide. Please feel free to take all the damn pictures you want. Stay along with everybody on the damn tour. Now, does anybody have any damn questions?